Okay, great. So I can officially welcome you and thank you to being here with us and to celebrate this multilingual webinar within the TAPPEO project. And as we have Alonso, the godfather, as I was saying, of the project, I would leave the floor maybe to you, Alonso, to say a few words. And because, of course, everything that is under this wonderful project is thanks to you. So I would leave the floor to you for some introduction. Thank you, Alonso.
Well, thank you very much, Letizia, and welcome everybody. Well, this is one of the many actions that we have in our project in order to disseminate and to create content that can be somehow relevant for student teachers and for in-service teachers who are interested in promoting plurilingualism from the early childhood. It's one of the many steps that we are giving towards strengthening this project. So thank you very much, Letizia.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. So I would start sharing my presentation with sharing the screen. Well, actually, I'm just a second. I would like to admit. Oh, I'm waiting. Yes. Okay. Okay. So actually, I'm not going to share a normal presentation, but I'm going to share with you a Curipod presentation. I don't know if you know this tool. It's an online, is an interactive tool. I'm going to share with you. So please, you would need to scan this QR code through your mobile phone so that you can interact with me and follow me in this presentation. So in the meantime, I'm just going to say something about me. I'm Letizia Cinganotto. I'm privileged to be part with my university, the University of Foreigners of Perugia, member of this project, TAPPEO project, and I'm an associate professor of language education, and I've been working on many different research areas, including CLIL, multilingualism, language education, and English and Italian as a second language, as a foreign language, and with particular focus on technologies, and recently AI. So we are developing in our university also tools and chatbots for language learning, in particular for Italian as a second language, as a foreign language. So today I'm going to talk about multilingualism in Italy and sharing with you some case examples, some case studies. Also gathering my experience, my previous experience, because before becoming a professor at university, I used to be a senior researcher in LITE, where now I'm part of the member of the board of directors, and in LITE is the National Institute of Italy, the National Research Institute, dealing with education, research, and innovation. So collecting the experiences and the practices of all Italian schools at any level. So my experience and also my research also, put together different areas. So my university activities and also my research activities also relating with Indire. Okay, so I'm going to share with the presentation. I don't know if you can, in the meantime, I see Sara and Simone from my university, my collaborators. I don't know if you can admit maybe in the meantime participants while I'm sharing the screen. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going with this interactive presentation because I will involve you in some with this tool, which is, by the way, an AI tool. I'm going to ask you to interact, to answer some questions, like the first one, your idea of multilingualism and plurilingualism. So you should see in your screen, in your smartphone, the fields to fill in with your 2 or 3 words associating your idea of multilingualism and plurilingualism. And just a small definition, as a conceptual difference when we talk about multilingualism, which is something that is that comes from the European, the Council of Europe, the European Commission. When we talk about multilingualism, we normally refer to a country, for example, where, like in Italy, where there could be different languages spoken and learned at the same time in parallel. Well, when we talk about plurilingualism, we talk about the coexistence of different languages within a plurilingual repertoire of a learner, for example. So, and the Council of Europe, in particular, with the Common European Framework for Languages, the Companion Volume 2020, just highlights the importance of the plurilingual repertoire of our learners, because it's important to enhance, of course, their background, which is language and culture, so linguistic and cultural background at the same time, just activating this plurilingual repertoire, so all the resources of our learners. Okay, great. Let's see if we can maybe yes. Okay, so now you can answer with your words, your ideas of multilingualism and your plurilingualism, just to have an idea of your impressions and associations of ideas. In Italy, talking about Italy, the situation, of course, is very complex, and it's a mosaic, because we have the standard Italian, which is, of course, a language of schooling, but we have regional languages, and we have dialects, and we have minority languages spoken by minorities, I mean, communities in different parts of Italy, and the policies have been working, national policies have been working hard to protect, especially these minority languages, with specific decrees, just trying to enhance minority languages. Okay, so using several languages, exploration, bring the heritage languages, opportunities, many languages. Yes, very interesting. And yes, heritage languages, I was saying, also in Italy is, especially when we talk about these minority languages, the Ministry of Education every year also allots a certain fund, certain amount of money to these particular regions, to the schools in these regions, in order to organize activities, and especially for pre-primary, primary, and lower secondary school, and try to teach these languages, minority languages, which are endangered, which are not, of course, officially taught in other parts of Italy. But what we want to do is just to protect these heritage languages. Now another activities that I would like you to do, which is a sort of fun, a symbol, to draw a symbol of your idea of multilingualism, like a sort of sketch or a graphic or whatever that could represent your idea of multilingualism. So just to experiment also this activity, which is a form of transcoding, so from text into graph, into image and diagram. So just a sketch, a symbol, or you can use emoticon. You can use the crayons and colors, and just to visualize your idea of multilingualism, because this platform is an AI platform with very interactive functions, as you are saying, and it allows us to be to interact together also through these different sorts of activities. And of course, when we talk about multilingualism, we also refer to all the different resources, just as the companion volume states that we need to activate all the resources of our students, of our learners, and so including, of course, a non-verbal language, so body language, and also visual literacy, visual language, and so this could be also a way to promote multilingualism. So just to have an idea of this activity and to see your masterpieces, now there's a sort of voting, because this platform also embeds gamification. So you should vote on your colleagues' favorite pictures and just clicking on the one you prefer. And so this is a way as sort of peer voting, peer feedback, and we'll see the podium just with the winners of these masterpieces. Okay, so you are voting, and then we'll see at the podium. And this is, by the way, an activity that could be also interesting for and amusing for children, also for, I mean, any age. Could be fun. Okay, let's see the podium. And okay, wonderful. So this is hola, and yes, we have hello, of course. Very nice. Congratulations to the winner. Of course, we would like to give the floor. We don't have time, but we would like to give the floor to the winners. But thank you so much for your okay, here we have another sketch. Thank you so much. Here we have, I guess, a brain with maybe, of course, we would be helpful to have you comment on your pictures, but unfortunately we don't have time. Okay, thank you so much. Just a very, very quick, this is very quick. Paul, how sensitive to multilingualism do you think policies in your country are? So we are an Erasmus project with participants from different countries. So just your thoughts about national policies, national language policies, and in terms of multilingualism, how sensitive you think, I mean, according to your perceptions, they are. Okay, let's see, and quite sensitive, not very sensitive, 2 and 2, okay, which is not very sensitive, and so not so good. Okay, so now we are going to talk about some case examples that we also mentioned in the reports that we produced for TAPPEO as one of the deliverables, and these are the 4 case examples that I'm going to mention as case studies talking about multilingualism. So as I was saying, the state of the art in terms of multilingual education in Italy is the importance, of course, of Italian, so the language of schooling, the official language taught, of course, at school, and this is the language that that, of course, is taught at every school level. Can you just confirm that is everything okay with the video? It's okay, right? Can you see my screen again? Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. Yes, so national policies, of course, have increasingly recognized plurilingualism, not as a challenge, but as a pedagogical resource. So it means that the idea to, of course, strengthen Italian as a second language, as a foreign language for children and students with migrant background is key in our schools. But at the same time, the idea is is also to enhance their linguistic repertoire, their plurilingual repertoire, so their home languages. And one of the methodologies that we've been implementing recently in all schools in Italy is CLIL, Content and Language Integrated Learning, which is compulsory in Italy. It became compulsory in 2010 and with the reform law. So it's compulsory now in all upper secondary schools. In particular in the last year of upper secondary school, so at least one subject or a part of a subject being taught in English or any other, according to the specialization of the school, other foreign languages. So basically, CLIL means teaching a subject, module, so subject content in a foreign language that could be English or also normally English is the most common one, but also French and Spanish and German are possible options. So it's compulsory in upper secondary schools, but more recently also starting for pre-primary and primary schools, CLIL is being recommended. Of course, it's not compulsory, but is strongly encouraged by the Minister of Education to start as soon as possible, especially with English at pre-primary school. And so CLIL is really one of, a sort of mission, because Italy is also mentioned in the Council Recommendation 2019 as a case study on multilingualism in terms of language of, foreign languages taught at school. And CLIL is really a trigger for innovation and for multilingualism that national policies are really keen on. Let's go on with these case studies that I'm going to mention. So this is a project that was launched in 2016, and it's grounded on the this French model, Valulang, a pedagogical approach designed to awaken learners' curiosity about the diversity of human language. So it's a way to work on language awareness through curiosity, especially with pre-primary and primary school children, with different activities, and of course trying to enhance their plurilingual repertoire, and through action research initiatives that of course are very inclusive, because the idea is to create inclusive classroom environments, and learners are really encouraged to draw on their own languages and family linguistic backgrounds, valorizing linguistic resources that are often invisible in formal schooling. So at the same time, the aim is to activate through these different initiatives, different activities, linguistic and metalinguistic awareness, just trying to give value to all the different language taught, I'd say officially taught in pre-primary, primary and lower secondary schools and all the school system, but at the same time enhancing their plurilingual repertoire. Second case study is in Friuli-Venezia Giulia, which is in northern Italy, where we have a sort of melting pot. Is a very multilingual region. It's one of the most linguistically complex regions, with Slovene, Friulian and German-speaking communities. It's an exceptional laboratory for inclusive language education, because it's so natural to to hear all these languages being spoken, and in the region, they also, through this initiative, they tried also to bring all these different languages into school curricula. So the project provides practical strategies for supporting both minority and heritage languages while developing plurilingual competence and fostering inclusive, context-sensitive language policies at institutional level. The key dimensions of this project, so this minority language protection within European frameworks, because this is also a European project, context-sensitive policy design, so it's just the initiative, it's tailored to the specific needs of the different communities and to specific social linguistic conditions of each school community, trying to protect, enhance, valorize all the different school communities with their relevant language. And so heritage and community languages are positioned as assets within the curriculum, supporting learning identity, family engagement, and cross-generational linguistic continuity. Then a third case study is the LITE project, or LITE project, which is the acronym for Language Integration through ePortfolio. This project is also a European initiative, European project that has been promoted in different schools in Italy. And the idea is to promote, once again, curiosity, language awareness, metalinguistic awareness, and fostering reflection on the different of the linguistic plurilingual repertoire of the learners, and aligning with translanguaging theory. So in particular, the idea of translanguaging is to use different languages according to the different interlocutors, so switching from one language into the others, into one or other languages as needed, as perceived comfortable by the learners. And this is something that is also embedded into CLIL, for example. So the idea to switch from the L1 to the L2 in a very natural way, not trying to translate, word by word, but giving just the message, conveying the message, and using all the resources to communicate, and translanguaging is very effective in this sense. So the innovation of this project is, in terms of digital tool, is this ePortfolio as a reflective space, is a sort of digital repository where learners can collect written text, audio recordings, multimedia content, so they can document their language learning journey across all languages in their repertoire. So they are left free to comment, to post audio files or multimedia or just text in terms of just notes, like in a learning journal, like in a diary, to document also their progress, of course, in their language progression in the different languages. So it's a reflective tool. Because, of course, it's not only a storage space, but it is aimed at fostering metacognitive reflection and prompting learners to evaluate their own progress and strategies. Of course, the objectives is the learning autonomy, because this project has overarching goal as the idea to promote autonomous learning habits and a sense of personal ownership over the learning process. So as I was saying, this portfolio integrates translanguaging principles by allowing learners to produce content in any language, reflect across languages, and demonstrate competence beyond monolingual norms. There's this slogan, monolingual is a disease that can be cured, and the idea of all this project is just to help curing this disease, getting out of this monolingual norms, and just moving towards recognition of the importance of all the different languages in the plurilingual repertoire of our students. So translanguaging and LITE or LITE, these theories behind. I was mentioning translanguaging that views multilingual speakers not as possessing separate language system, but as drawing fluidly from a single integrated linguistic repertoire. So just enhancing this, this sort of continuous movement among different languages, different choices that students can do within a single conversation, for example, or a lesson, just using the terms or the expression, the structures that they feel more comfortable with, so that they can use their communicative resources strategically and dynamically. Now going to the last, but of course there are also many other interesting projects that are being carried out in Italy. Of course, in the interest of time, we just picked up some of these projects, but yes, with no ambition to be exhaustive, just to give you an idea of some case examples. This project is called the HLD Linguistic Diet, and I'm particularly happy to share with you this project because I was involved in the research with the author of this model, the authors of this model, Dina Smith from UCL and Thomas Bach from Edinburgh, and they designed this project, which is very this model actually, which is now very popular. You can find the official website or HLD Linguistic Diet, where you can see all the different activities and different papers published, and also being promoted at international level, also mentioned by the Council of Europe and European Commission as an excellence model for multilingualism. And the idea is to compare the linguistic diet to just healthy diet, and so eating a variety of food groups in measured proportions. At the same time, so in the same way, HLD Linguistic Diet would prescribe balanced, purposeful engagement with multiple languages throughout learners' daily educational experience. So it means that the idea is that, as we say, 1 apple a day, it would mean different using different languages, and as soon as possible exposing the learners, the children, as soon as possible to different languages, at least bilingualism, at least 2 languages, as early as possible, as soon as possible, would be very beneficial. And Thomas Bach is a neuroscientist, so also his studies confirm that this model can prevent dementia and has a lot of cognitive benefits. That's why it's called a source of prescription, a source of diet. And we had the pleasure of experimenting this project in Italy within DIRE, as I was saying, this National Research Institute, with the consultancy of Dina Smith, the author of the original model. And we started with first of all, with observing this model. In particular, there's a wonderful school in Dublin, District 15, the Scoli Baili Cailini, which is a school with a very high density of migrant students, and some sort of 100 languages are spoken in the district. And so the school, which is comprehensive, so pre-primary, primary, lower secondary school, there are spoken something about 100 languages, and in this school, so we went there to take to observe it and document this practice, and then bring it to some schools in Italy, to 3 schools in Italy, and we were impressed by this methodology, this linguistic diet that was really embedded into any lesson. I mean, they were language lessons, of course, but also in any other subject lesson, the teacher always stopped and said and asked the students, how would you say that in your home language? Would you teach your friends this in your home language? So it was something, I mean, a continuous flow. Also, for example, with songs, with the and with the schoolscape, what is called the schoolscape. So all the different posters on all over the in schools and in room walls. They were pictures and with words in all the languages spoken by the students in the class, and this was there. It was outstanding, and there were initiatives like the ambassador of the language. For example, there was the Chinese week, for example, where Chinese students were the ambassadors for the week, and they were entitled to teach Chinese to their friends. So it's a sort of peer teaching. So we had the pleasure to observe all these different these practices, and then we experimented them into in Italy in these 3 schools that we selected, and we designed and organized with them different activities, trying to copy to get inspiration from this school in Ireland, and at the same time they organized their own initiatives according to some specific scenarios, learning scenarios according to the companion volume of the CFR. These learning scenarios were just a sort of toolkit that we designed with the help of Dina to guide teachers to plan multilingual activities with their students, and the project was very successful. And I know that this teachers still, continue working with this model, and because they was also appreciated by the families, because one important aspect of this project, common to a lot of other initiatives and the majority of the other projects that I mentioned, is the involvement of the families. So families were actively involved for organizing parties and teach their traditions, cultures, and cook their typical food, their typical recipes. So they were continuously present, continuously involved in the activity, especially with pre-primary children. And in this project in particular, also in Italy, we organized parties with the families, and celebrating together their official festivals. Okay, so yes, the core aims of the model. So this cognitive development, balanced multilingual exposure is shown to enhance executive function, working memory, problem solving, benefits that extend well beyond language learning itself. So a lot of cognitive benefits that are shown by Professor Thomas Bach, that just at the core of this project. And the linguistic diversity is also key. The idea of giving the same level of importance to all languages, which is so important for our learners. So the so somehow trying to abolish this hierarchy that it's somehow always conveyed in our school. So the idea that we have, of course, Italian as language of schooling, and so Italian as a second language for migrant students, and at the same time we have the languages which are officially taught at school. So basically English, we have also English, French, and German, as I was saying, especially in lower secondary schools. And so the sort of linguistic hierarchy just gives importance to these languages. And the idea was to just leave all the other languages home. So they are L1, they are home languages, are normally used only to communicate with parents, with grandparents, just home. And of course, just changing this asset is so important, because especially for migrant, I mean, second generation, third generation, if they have the opportunity to use their home language, I mean, their parents' language, even if some words, just to recognize the value, which is also, of course, a great value in terms of identity, in terms of self-esteem, and is a so profound message also in terms of inclusive education. And so this is something that these projects share, this key message that we share, and also something that national policies are trying to just promote. So the idea that all languages are important, share the same level of recognition and value, and so it's a shared treasure that all learners should just bring to school, not leave only home. And this is something that is quite revolutionary in Italy, because as I was saying, there used to be this sort of hidden hierarchy that, of course, now is we want to overcome. Yes, just to conclude with some shared principles that this project, is case examples have in common. So plurilingualism as asset, as I was saying, so not as a challenge, so not as a problem. When we welcome, especially in pre-primary, primary school, we welcome children with migrant background. We have this a lot of students, for example, a lot of children with the war, when the war in Ukraine started. We had a lot of NAI, we call them, new arrived in Italy. There were minor children with no parents, and we welcome them in our schools, just using, I mean, these strategies, but also many other strategies with our wonderful teachers to welcome them and try to not only have them integrate into their classes, but also just act as a trigger for inclusivity, for intercultural dialogue. And we had wonderful results of these strategies that were put in place by teachers, just considering plurilingualism as asset and not as a challenge. So learning identity at the center, heritage recognized. So the topic of self-esteem, the idea of give value to each learner, to each student with his or her own plurilingual repertoire, including heritage languages and minority languages. So just giving value to each single student, and so trying also to work through personalization of the teaching and learning pathways. Metalinguistic reflection, so thinking about language, so just starting with the curiosity, so starting with maybe guiding the learners, to each single learner, to be aware of this wonderful treasure of the different languages. That could be also partial skills, because of course there could be different levels or heterogeneous levels of competence in all the different languages, but they are yet all important, and it's important to have them reflect, recognize all the different languages that could be in their own plurilingual repertoire, but also according to the principle of multiculturalism and intercultural dialogue, to recognize and respect, or also, of course, the other linguistic and cultural background, which are, of course, the basic principles of democratic culture. Inclusive design, equity across languages. So, of course, this is in terms of inclusion is key, because we try to give equal opportunities to all the learners, and so equal values to all the languages. Teacher as researcher, so action research. We know that teachers are always researchers. They are always doing research with their students, because we are all researchers, always learning from our students. Of course, these initiatives are always action research projects, because teachers always reflect and gather data from all the different activities, and of course is a way to improve also the teaching strategies, and always replan always a step forward to improve and possibly implement new strategies to improve and yet to foster plurilingualism in a better way. Digital tools, e-portfolios, multimedia. So as we saw in the e-portfolio in the LITE Project, of course now, so with artificial intelligence, there are more and more tools available that could work as e-portfolios, but also could help this, this multilingual turn, we could say, because thanks to artificial intelligence, we of course have tools for automatic translation and feedback, but all the functions that we know. But for example, a very important function that we can, a very important benefit from AI in terms of multilingualism is this this immediate translation, and that could of course be helpful for students with different home languages, because for example just switching into their own home language for facilitating understanding, for immediate, as a social bridge. So just during the lesson, activating different translations in their different home languages in a very quick way could help could facilitate understanding and communication, and at the same time could be a way to protect, to preserve their home languages, and to use them as a bridge towards, for example, Italian or any other foreign languages taught in the curriculum. And of course, with AI, we now can take a lot of benefits and a lot of advantages in terms of because conversations can, with chatbots, according to different learning scenarios, can be fruitful in any languages, and learners could be engaged in a fruitful conversation, also maybe in their free time, pretending to be chatting, in their L1 or in the target language, or maybe in translanguaging. So with AI, we now have a lot of potential, a lot of different opportunities. So just now to conclude with a very schematic summary of the pedagogical approaches that I mentioned, and just to give you an idea that the projects covered so different levels, different school levels, from primary to secondary, tertiary. So it's something that it's so important now in our national policies, and just all the different approaches, the different, because of course the pedagogy comes first. So the core approaches like metalinguistic awareness, heritage language activation, minority language policy, context sensitive planning, translanguaging, learning autonomy, balanced multilingual exposure, and cognitive benefits. So these are all the different approaches that are hidden into the different projects that I mentioned. Yes, so just implications for Italian education. So what we are doing now, we are trying to do now, first of all, is investing in teacher education. Teacher education is so important because, of course, these innovative approaches need specific training, and we had a lot of funds from the Ministry of Education allotted to the schools. For example, on CLIL last year, according to some specific European funds, the Ministry of Education implemented specific actions to foster CLIL training to any school level, so starting from pre-primary school to upper secondary school, in order to train teachers to be familiar and implement CLIL in their classes. But also a lot of initiatives about Italian as a second language, as a foreign language, and there's a specific, and it's new in Italy to have a specific teacher, specific professional profile teaching Italian as a second language, as a foreign language. And of course, these are just some initiatives included in their national language policies that are aiming at integrating plurilingualism into national curricula, recognizing regional linguistic complexity, and just trying to respond to specific minority and heritage language communities in order to preserve and protect also heritage and minority languages. So yes, these are the European, of course, the projects like LITE, and the impact Friuli-Venezia Giulia. They were also funded by with the European funds. So of course, European frameworks are important and crucial. And I mentioned the Council of Europe Common European Framework for Reference Companion Volume 2020, with the strong focus on the plurilingual repertoire and the plurilingual and pluricultural grids and scales that are provided by the companion volume, and of course the Council Recommendation 2022 on the plurilingual education for democratic culture is another milestone that promotes, of course, inclusive and plurilingual education in our schools. And of course, these are highlights from European Council, from the Council of Europe, and so the European frameworks being implemented into our national policies. Just some key takeaways from this short conversation on multilingualism. So plurilingualism works. It's not a challenge, but is an asset. So it can really be helpful. It can be really successful in terms of learner engagement, identity, and linguistic competence. CLIL as a catalyst, so CLIL can be a trigger for multilingualism, for innovation, for intercultural dialogue, and because it can at the same time promote language competence and subject knowledge. So it could be a way to combine different teaching strategies. Digital tools can enable reflection, and also now with AI, e-portfolios, but multimedia environments, but we can take, of course, take advantage of the different potential of AI in terms of multilingual conversation. So just increasing the level of exposure of our learners to plurilingual inputs, and at the same time enhancing their L1, their home language, as a bridge language to facilitate understanding and communication. Inclusion is central because, of course, this is an ethical and pedagogical imperative in multilingual society. We need to be inclusive, and we need to recognize and activate heritage and minority languages as something that we are trying to do in Italy. So just to end up with a last activity, interactive activity, just to ask you to share an insight that you will carry with you from today, just to end up with a very quick answer from you as what we've been discussing together today. Of course, I'll be happy to answer your questions. We have also, for those who joined us later, we have Alonso, who's our leader, project leader, and our guru, and I would like to thank him for being with us today. And of course, we can answer all your questions about this particular topic, but also, I guess, Alonso, about any other topics that could be under the umbrella of our TAPPEO project.
Thank you very much, Letizia.
Yes, we just see some of the answers, and so that we can conclude. Multilingualism, bridging good practice. Yeah, so it was just very quick, and yes, multilingualism, of course, is from today. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yes, I see that there was some maybe were not admitted. Maybe yes, now okay. Yes, so we will be happy to answer all your questions. Or I don't know, Alonso, if you want to comment or add something.
Well, I think one of the challenges is bringing those experiences, those good practices, that research that you are doing to real changes in the education system. This is what somehow should be triggered. Do you know that political authorities in Italy, for instance, are trying to foster a change towards these policies?
Yes, well, I think that the best solution would be, of course, is the one where we have the top down, but at the same time the bottom up, let's say, initiatives. So when they can meet, because when, of course, yeah, policies are going towards this direction. National policies are going towards this direction because, first of all, there's this strong focus on Italian as a second language, as a foreign language, especially for, as I was saying, for students with background, with migrant background, and to foster, of course, their inclusion and their integration. But at the same time, this policies about minority languages with specific funds allotted to schools to just to organize initiatives and projects on these languages. So from one side, this is what national policies are doing, but at the same time, initiatives and also the teachers strategies, so starting from the bottom, let's say, is something that can be really really effective, because this is when not only top down, but also when it comes from bottom, it can be really help make a change. Of course, it takes time, because it needs to be perceived as crucial by all teachers. That's why I was insisting on the bottom up perspective, because this is what really can make the change, can make the difference when it comes from bottom. But when there's this sort of balance and this meeting point between top down and bottom up, we will have a real success. So we are moving towards this goal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there are comments or questions, or maybe, yeah, if you want to share your experiences. Yes, I can see from different countries, Romania, Latvia, and Belgium. Thank you so much for being with us. So, of course, we will be happy to hear your voice as well, if you want to share your experiences, your vision about your national policies. Of course, feel free to take the floor. Or maybe to write in the chat if you want to comment. No comments, no questions. Okay. Yes, we promised to be short, right, Alonso? 1 hour. We said that 1 hour would be enough to share some ideas, some experience. Yes. So maybe one key message that I would like to about Italy that I would like to strengthen is this mission about CLIL, because CLIL has been a real driver for change in Italy. It's been pushed by the Ministry of Education since 2010, and also through a reform law. It is quite rare in, as I said, it's mentioned. Italy is mentioned in the Council recommendation 2019 as an example of best practice in terms of CLIL as compulsory by a reform law, which is so rare in Europe. I mean, in the majority of the cases, it's projects or initiatives. I mean, strongly recommended, but in our case, it's just a reform law, so it's compulsory with a lot of challenges, of course, because it's not so easy to implement it in all schools in Italy, but there's a reform law, and also a lot of training initiatives, a lot of investment. So really, we can say that Italy has really pushed, is doing that also in our in these recent trajectories, because Italy strongly believes in CLIL as a driver of innovation and multilingualism. So this is something that could be among the different projects, different methodologies, is one that, I mean, Italy has chosen as a priority. Okay, great. So I don't know, Alonso, if you have some more comments, if you want to share some other reflections, or otherwise we can say goodbye to our participants.
No, thank you very much for your webinar, for your presentation, for giving us some knowledge on how plurilingualism is working in Italy. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Great, thank you to you, Alonso, and thank you everybody for joining us. And so with our project, with our friends, we'll meet soon in Helsinki, right? Looking forward to our next meeting in Helsinki. Okay, thank you so much again, and bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.